Very good evening to all of you. Welcome to today's YouTube live session with me, Surjeet Kakkar. Today is Friday, 25th of August, 2023. And today's session, in fact, before we move ahead, let's also get done with the basic formalities. So make sure you people go through the disclosure, which talks about the representation risk disclosure, risk involved in the market, and also about the copyrights. So today's session is about the latest update of our screener, and this will be version 1.0b. Now, those of you who already have an active access to the screener, you don't have to resubscribe. If you already have an active access, all you need to do is just remove the screener from the chart, save your chart, refresh the chart, and add the screener again, and you will have the latest version. But yes, you will again have to input the complete list. But yes, today we are launching our latest version, which will make the process a little easier. So let's understand what the screener is. We'll go through the walkthrough and understand all the options and the settings and the features we have. All right, so first and foremost, demand supply screener is a tool used by traders and investors to filter and identify potential trading and investing opportunities in the market based on demand supply dynamics. So this screener is not based on conventional technical analysis. It is not based on any moving averages or let's say indicators or oscillators or fundamental analysis. This screener is purely based on demand and supply zones. And that is the beauty of this screener because as we move forward, we'll talk about the challenges we face as a demand and supply trader and how this screener can help overcome those challenges. So the challenges which we face when we are using conventional screeners, which can be based on conventional technical analysis, or it can also be based on, let's say, fundamental analysis. So the challenges are that almost all these scanner screeners that are available to us, they are either fundamental based or conventional technical analysis based. Because even if you want to use those tools which are freely available and you want to use them for recognition of these patterns of demand and supply, it's very complex. It's not very easy because it's not a very easy task that we give some indicators and like just as an example, let's say some moving averages, if they have some crossovers, we can easily filter them out. But when you have to give the complete structures of demand and supply, it's pretty complex. Next, what happens is the scanner screeners that are available to us, that is based on conventional technical analysis. Whatever list we get, when you start analyzing them, what you will realize is that most of the times that list we get does not have any quality demand and supply areas. And the reason for that is because those screeners are not designed to shortlist based on demand and supply. That is the reason most of the times they don't even have demand supply zones, which is where you might be wasting a lot of time analyzing such symbols where you don't even have any zones. And the ones which might have some zones, those zones might be really far away from the current market price, due to which you might have to wait for a very long period of time before the prices are back to your zone. And during this waiting period, what can also happen is the price action that will form that might disqualify that particular trade setup when it is back into your zone. So these are some of the challenges we face when we are using conventional screeners, which can be based on technical analysis or fundamental analysis. Now, how does the demand and supply screener help us? First and foremost, the demand and supply screener is purely based on demand and supply zones. It is not based on any indicators or oscillators. It identifies all structures of demand and supply. So it's not that it is not identifying one particular kind of a pattern. It is identifying all kind of patterns. Plus, you can also customize what kind of patterns you want, how many candles you want in the basing, what kind of leg outs you want. So all those things can also be customized. Plus, because those things can be customized, so it is identifying based on not just zones, it is also identifying based on your preferences of the zones, the kind of zones you want. And yes, because in this screener, you can define how close you should be to the zone before it gets shortlisted for you, which we call as the zone proximity. So you can define your zone proximity, whether you want symbols where the current candle is touching the zone, or whether you want symbol where the current candle is, let's say, within 0.5% of the zone. So what is going to happen? It will only shortlist symbols for you where those conditions are getting applied, due to which you will be closer to the zone, which increases your probability of participating in a trade. Now, what are the key features? First is it has a very user-friendly interface. In fact, compared to the previous version, now it is much more user-friendly for us. The settings can be customized as per your trade plan. So this is where you have that flexibility, whether you want to be aggressive, whether you want to be conservative. Those are the things which you can input into the screener. Again, it has seamless integration with TradingView, so it doesn't matter whether you're using it on TradingView via web browser on your PC, or you are using the PC app, or you are using it on your mobiles or your tablets, right? Across the board, it can be applied to TradingView, be that the web version or the app version. And the identification is real time, so it's not that it is delayed. So as soon as those conditions, the proximity condition you are giving, they get satisfied immediately, it gets shortlisted for you. So how does the screener work? The screener utilizes advanced algorithm to identify symbols that are trading close to or maybe inside demand and supply areas. And the symbols are automatically shortlisted on the charts, eliminating your need to manually identify. So what used to happen was, before the screener was there, we would manually go through each and every stock to identify where we are closer to demand and supply areas. Now this process can be automated. And what are the benefits? It increases your efficiency and productivity. It also enhances your accuracy in identifying high quality opportunities, because like I said, you can always set up your screener settings based on the kind of quality you want. So based on your preferences, those kind of symbols will get shortlisted for you, and it is suitable for all styles of trading, irrespective whether you want to do intraday, whether you want to do swing trading, whether you want to do investing. So it is applicable across the board, any markets you want to trade, any style of trading you want to do. So again, very important, what the demand and supply screener is not, right? This is very, very important. First and foremost, you need to have solid understanding of demand and supply methodology to effectively use the screener. The screener is designed to identify symbols for us which are trading close to demand and supply zones on the chart, or maybe even inside of it. Very, very important. It is not a buy or sell signal giving indicator, right? So always remember, the screener does not tell you what you should be buying or what you should be selling. It is only helping you shortlist symbol based on your preferences. Once that is shortlisted for you, you will have to match what is in sync with your trade plan. Whatever is in sync with your trade plan, you can use it. So very, very important. Do not assume that whatever gets shortlisted by the screener, you can blindly buy it or sell it. It's not a explicit buy sell giving signal indicator. It is just a screener which is helping you shortlist based on formation of demand and supply areas. So again, it aids as a tool in the identification of these symbols, and it has to be used alongside with your personal trade plan. And definitely you need to thoroughly evaluate and qualify the symbols which are getting shortlisted. And I'm pretty sure most of you know that in demand supply methodology, we have a very mechanical process using which we understand the quality and the probability factor of the zone, and only if those factors they allow us to take that particular zone, then we use that particular zone. So in conclusion, demand supply screener is a very valuable tool when used correctly, and you can integrate it into your trading methodology, and it can save you a lot of time by helping you shortlist symbols that are trading close to or inside demand and supply areas. So now coming back to what is new in the latest version, which is 1.0b. Now what happens is, in the indicator settings, you can select the symbols directly. So now what do I mean by can select the symbols? Once I go through the walkthrough, once I go to the chart, I show you the older version and the new version. You'll get to know the difference between the two. So first and foremost, how do I get access to the demand and supply screener? So just give me a second. Let me bring this up for you. So to access the screener, what you need to do is you will come to our website, and once you come to our website, you can click on all products. The link is also available in the description. So even when you click on it, it will take you to this page, and here you can see you have the option which says screener. And once you click on it and you move ahead, you will be on the screener page. This is the page from where you can subscribe to screener. So the first thing you need to do is, when you're subscribing, what duration you want to subscribe for, because it is subscription based. You can subscribe for 30 days, 60 days, annual, whatever your preference is. Now from which date you want your screener to start. Now example, we have now weekend, right? Saturday, Sunday. So maybe you want the screener should get activated for you from Monday. Then you can choose 28th as your date. So this is where you'll have to select the date, and whatever date you will be selecting, from that date onwards, you will have access to the screener, and whatever your subscription period might be, 30 days, 60 days or annual, will be counted from that particular date. So just as an example, if I select 28th, then 30 days or 60 days or annual will be counted from 28th, not from today, which is the date of subscription, always from the date of commencement. And then you'll also have to provide your TradingView username. Very, very important, because once we get your TradingView username, Only then we can activate it for you from the backend. Now, how do we find the TradingView username? Very simple. Once you're on TradingView, you're logged into your account. You will see in the top right corner, once you click on this icon, which is the icon shows you your profile icon, you will get to know your profile name. You can also go to profile settings, and once you go to profile settings here, you will see that in front of username, you will have your exact username. So do ensure you provide us with the correct username, because if you are not providing us with the correct username, we will not be able to activate it for you. So it is very, very important that the correct username is provided at the time of subscription, so that you have a seamless experience with the activation of the screener for you. And I would also like to add that with the screener, you also get complimentary access to the demand and supply zone indicator during your screener subscription period, because we do understand that if only the screener is shortlisting symbols for you, but you can't see demand supply zones on the chart, it is not going to help. So when you are subscribing to screener, by default, you get complimentary access to the demand and supply zone indicator during your screener subscription period. All right, so coming back to, once you're done with this process, the process I was telling you, and again, if you want to understand more about the demand and supply zone indicator, I recently did a video on that. We also upgraded it to the latest version, and the link to that video is available in the description. You can also go through that video to understand what demand supply indicator is all about. Now, once the indicator gets activated for you, then what is going to happen, once you go to the indicator tab, you will be able to see invite only scripts, and with screener, you will get access to two different indicators. One is the demand supply screener. It will show you 1.0, and it will also show you that you have access to the demand and supply zone indicators. You'll have access to both of them. So let me apply the screener first. So what I'll do is I'll apply the screener, and as soon as I apply the screener, you can see it comes on the chart. Now, first, let me show you the difference between the older version and the newer version, right? Then we'll talk about the complete walkthrough. So if you talk about the older version, which was screener 1.0a, in that screener, when you used to go to the screener settings, this is where we had to manually input the exchange name and the symbol name. So just as an example, let's say I wanted the list to include, let's say, ICICI Bank. So I had to give NSC, and then I had to give ICICI Bank, right? And this is how we used to generate the complete list, which is of about 40 symbols. And once you click on it, that used to get added to this list. But the challenge here was, at times we were not sure what is the exchange name and what is the symbol name. So what we used to do here was, we used to go down and we used to check this option, show exchange and symbol names. And then you can see at the bottom right corner, it is telling me NSE and Nifty, one exclamation. So this is basically for the Nifty futures. So similarly, let's say if I wanted for S&P 500. So now I know my exchange name had to be CME_mini_DL, and the symbol name would have been this. So this was a little bit challenging, because at times we were not giving the correct exchange name or the symbol name. And now this has been taken care in the latest version, which is the demand and supply screener 1.0b. Now what happens in this one is, now I'm removing, in fact, instead of removing, I'll just hide it. Now in the newer version, once you go to the settings, now you can see you don't have to input exchange name and the symbol name separately. You just simply click on it, and then you can choose your symbol. So let's assume that I wanted to give, in fact, let me go back to the other chart to show you this example. Right. So let's assume I wanted to, let's say I go to the monthly time frame for now, and let's choose some symbols. Let's say Reliance, then let's say HDFC, ICICI Bank, SBIN, Axis Bank, let's say Kotak Bank. So can you see, now you just simply click on it and you can select the symbol that you want, and that is what we have in the newer version, which makes the process much more easier. And if I now go through the the complete settings, each and every option that is available. So what happens is, first you have up to 40 symbols which can be added. So as of now, you can see I've added around 6 symbols to this chart. So what the screener will do is that when it is shortlisting, it will shortlist out of these 6 symbols whatever is matching with the conditions. As we move ahead, we'll talk about those conditions. Let me just change to the weekly time frame for now, right? So at least we have some examples to understand. So, the first thing is you can see that it is telling me Kotak Bank has a proximity to the demand area. That is why it is getting highlighted. And SBIN has a proximity to supply area. That is the reason it is getting highlighted. Now, like I was talking about, that if you just have the screener, you don't have the demand and supply zone indicator, you will not get to know where those zones are. So, example, if I go to Kotak Bank, you can see on the Kotak Bank, yes, I am on the weekly time frame. The screener as of now is shortlisting based on the weekly time frame, but I don't know where the zones are. And that is the reason with the screener, you get complementary access to the demand and supply zone indicator. So I can also apply the indicator on the chart now. And you will see that I will be close to a demand area. And can you see that is why it is getting shortlisted for us? I'm closer to a demand area, in fact, touching a demand area. Similarly, if I go to SBIN, I should be close to supply. So if I go to SBIN, and now you should be able to see that I'll be closer to supply, and that is why it is getting shortlisted for me. Now let's talk about all the settings. So not for the indicator, for the demand and supply screener. So first, you will have to input your own list, and this list, it's not just limited to the NSE exchange. Anything that is on TradingView, be that the Indian market, be that the international market, be that currencies, be that cryptos, be that commodities, right? It can be applied across the board to any symbol which is available on TradingView. Right, next, the options we have is first the zoning method, whether you want when it comes to the zone options, right? The first one is the proximity method. So proximity method means that the screener, when it is shortlisting for me, should it be shortlisting based on highs and lows or based on the closing? Now, what do we mean by that? Now, example, you can see here I've set my proximity as 5%. So what this 5% basically means is that when the high of a candle will be within 5% of a supply area, or the low of the candle will be within 5% of a demand area, it will get shortlisted for me. So this is happening based on high low. Now, if I want it based on the closing basis, I can also change it to closing basis. And now only if it is, can you see now if you talk about Kotak Bank, yes, based on the closing basis, we are within 5% proximity, but SBIN was only within 5% proximity based on the high, not based on the closing price. And can you see if I change it to high low again, it is again showing me SBIN. So this is where you can choose whether you want it based on the closing basis or whether you want it based on the highs and lows. Next, what should be the zoning method, whether you want wick to wick method or body to wick method when we are talking about these zones. Now, leg-in method, what kind of leg-in you want? Should it be based on the candle type or the candle color? This is something I've also explained in the indicator video. So you can just go through that video. That will help you understand it a little better. Next, do you want to see tested zones? Should the screener be shortlisting based on tested zones or not? That is what you can choose here. Do you want the screener to identify follow-through patterns? That is what you can select here. Do you want to hide the single leg out patterns? Do you want gap zones? Do you want gap zones from the gap? Do you want to hide the non-gap zones? So all these things can be selected. And if you want the screener not to just identify based on quality zones, you want it to identify based on all zones, you can check mark this. And now probably you will see our list will become a little bigger, because now it is not just shortlisting based on quality areas, it is shortlisting based on all structures of demand and supply. Now, what kind of patterns should be getting identified, how many candles we want in the basing, for the zones, what should be the strength of the leg out when you're talking about a single leg out pattern, and similarly when you're talking about follow through pattern, what should be the strength. And this is where you have your proximity settings. So like you saw that as of now my proximity setting is given as 5%. So if the current high or low is within 5%, it will get shortlisted for me. Now what I'll do is I'll move to a different chart just to show you a few more examples and also some of the challenges which you might face and how to overcome those challenges. So let me do this first. If I go here and if I again apply the indicator. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I'll be talking about two different aspects here. See, now some of you might be having a free TradingView account and some of you might be having a paid TradingView account. Now on a free TradingView account, you can see you can only add up to 3 indicators. Can you see right now your plan has a indicator limit which is up to 3 indicators. So yes, one, we will be using the demand and supply zone indicator, and the other, what we can do is, if you're using the screener, you can add the screener twice, which gives you the flexibility that instead of having now a list of 40 symbols, you can have a list of up to 80 symbols, right? Because 40 you can input into this, 40 you can input into this. So now let me do this as an example. Let me pick some here as well. Right, so I'm just randomly picking some of these. Right now, what you need to understand is, can you see if both of them are activated together? Now they might overlap, and that is where you'll not be able to read what is the symbol name and whether it is close to demand or supply. So when you have both of them up, applied it multiple times, then you'll have to enable it one by one. So if I'm enabling this one, it is telling me I'm closer to demand on Kotak Bank and closer to supply on SBIN. And if I enable the other one, it is telling me on Bajaj Auto, I am closer to both demand as well as supply, which means the high would be closer to supply and the low will be closer to demand based on that 5% proximity setting. So if I just go to Bajaj, this was Bajaj Auto. So you can see that I'm also closer to demand based on the low, and I'm also close to supply based on the high. But if I change these settings here, that I don't want within 5%, I want within 1%. Now you will see that it might only identify closer to supply, not closer to demand. And can you see that is what it is doing? So based on your proximity settings, you can choose whatever you want. And now whatever time frame you're on, based on that particular time frame, it is shortlisting for you. So example, currently I'm on the weekly time frame, so it is shortlisting based on weekly. If I go to the monthly, now it will shortlist based on monthly. You can see currently we don't have anything. If I apply the other one, again we don't have anything. Now if I go to daily, let me apply the first one. Okay, so it's taking some time. So you can see on the daily, we are closer to these demand areas on Axis Bank, SBI and ICICI and HDFC. And on Reliance, we are closer to supply. And similarly, if I enable the other one, if we are within some proximity, it will also shortlist for us. So let's just give it a few seconds. The other one is not generating any result for us because nothing might be matching. So this is how you can use it on different time frames. So once it is applied, you just need to simply change the time frame. Now, those of you who have a paid account, so the advantage with the paid account is that we can use this screener on the multiple chart layout, and we can apply to different charts, and we can view it simultaneously at the same time. Now, one thing which I generally do is, while I'm using the screener, I generally don't use the charts on, the charts, I mean, for the analysis on the same layout. I always use a different layout for it so that the charts, they look a little neat. So what I generally do is, I keep the candles hidden so that, I just get the shortlist from here. And once I have my list, then I will always look at it on a different layout so that my charts, they look really nice and neat. Can you see this looks much better, pretty neat. So currently you can see I'm on the monthly time frame, and my settings here are, and here you can see that I have a list of 40. Here again, I have a list of 40. So you can see currently we have 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, and I don't think we have any here. So we have around, I guess this is a list of around over 160 stocks, which it is shortlisting for me. So can you see from 160 stocks, it has shortlisted few stocks for me, which are currently on the monthly time frame within 1% proximity to the zone. So you can see I have kept my setting. Sorry, it is within 2%. So just as an example, if I go to BPCL on the monthly, let's hide this. We'll only keep the indicator running, and let's go to BPCL. So you will see BPCL will be within 2% of a monthly demand area, and that is where you can see we are closer to a monthly demand area, because my current settings are that I'm okay with tested zones. So that is why it is also filtering based on tested zones. If I say I only want fresh areas, where I can disable this option, show tested zones, now it will no longer identify BPCL for me. Can you see now it has gone from the list? So you can choose it based on your preference, whether you want to see tested zones, whether you want to see fresh zones. Similarly, if I look at Glenmark, you will see Glenmark will be closer to supply zone. So if I go to Glenmark now, GLENM. So Glenmark should be within 2% of a supply area. So probably that is where we have our supply. You can see last month we touched it. This month we have already started moving down from there. So you can see this is how the screener can help you identify symbols which are trading close to demand supply areas, or maybe even trading inside of it. Now, how can I identify the ones which are trading inside? So for that, what you can do is, because you want it should be trading inside, so first thing is I need it on the closing basis, because only then it will be inside the zone. And now it should be 0%, because 0% means I will be inside of the zone, touching the zone or inside of it. So now you can see it is shortlisting 3 for me, which is Lupin and IGL. I think I added IGL twice here. So if I go to Lupin now, LUPIN, so you'll be able to see that I will be inside, because that is what I now selected as my option, that I should be trading inside, which is where I gave it as 0%. And you can see I'm inside based on the closing basis, inside of a monthly supply area. So this is how you can modify the options based on your preferences, whether you want to be inside the zone, whether you want to be touching the zone, whether it should be based on highs and lows, whether it should be based on the closing basis. Now, when I'm on bigger time frames, can you see when I'm on the monthly time frame or the weekly time frame, you will see the screener will easily load. Why? Because on the bigger time frames, the data that is available is very limited. It's not that you have 5,000, 6,000 candles on the weeklies, dailies, monthlies. So you can see on monthly it is working fine, on the weekly it is working fine. In fact, even if I go to the daily, it should not be a challenge to load. And it also depends upon your subscription level with TradingView, that if you have a free account, you get data for up to 5,000 candles, but when you have a paid subscription, your data can be as high as up to 20,000 candles. So this is where the indicator can take a little while, and that is why you can see in the daily it's taking a little while, because now it has a lot of data to analyze for over 160 stocks. And can you see, as soon as it is done with the analysis, it is telling me on which symbols I'm closer to demand areas and supply areas based on my settings, which is within 2%. Now, the challenge you will face is when you start getting to smaller time frames. So example, if I go to an hourly chart, now you will see the screener will fail to load. And that is the thing I wanted to touch upon, that how you can even use it on smaller time frames, because then you have to find a way around. I'll tell you that way around. So let's just give it some time, because I want those errors to pop up and I want those errors to generate. And the reason why we will be getting the error is because, like I was telling you, that as you start getting to smaller time frames, now on an hourly time frame, I'm pretty sure for almost every other symbol, I will be having data of up to 20,000 candles, because I have a premium account. I'll have data of up to 20,000 candles. So now just imagine that per chart, it is looking at 40 symbols, and each symbol has 20,000 candles, which will take a lot of time for the indicator to do the calculation, to do the computation, and identify where you are within that proximity range of the of the demand area or the supply area. So again, 40 symbols into 20,000 candles, 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 which will make this very, very slow. And because it will make it very, very slow, what TradingView will do is it will stop the execution of this screener. And that is one challenge you will start facing when you start going to smaller time frames, right? So anything below daily, you will face these challenges. Even at times on daily, you might face this challenge. But how to fix it and how to overcome this challenge, we'll talk about it next. But I'm just waiting for the indicator to pop up that error, so that once you see that error, you will understand why it is happening, and then I'll tell you the way around how it can be fixed. All right, so now you can see we started getting errors. If I click on this, can you see it says calculation timeout? You will see that it will be the same error. Can you see all of them? Now, why calculation timed out? Because what happens is, on a free account, TradingView gives you 20 seconds for the indicator to load. If the indicator does not load within 20 seconds, the execution is stopped. And on a paid account, like I have a premium account, it gives us 40 seconds. So within 40 seconds, the computation is not completed. To save the server resources, it will stop the execution of that particular indicator. And now the challenge here is, why it is taking so long is because on every chart, it is trying to analyze 40 symbols. So the solution here is that if you have a paid account, you can create multiple layouts, right? And on every layout, you can have a multiple chart layout. And instead of giving a list of 40 symbols, you can have a small list. Now you can see I've given 5 here, I've given 5 here, 5, 5, 5. So in a way I have 40 symbols on this one particular layout. I can create multiple layouts. Now what is going to happen is, now because on every chart it has to only analyze 5 symbols, it will not take a very long period of time. So if I go to a 5-minute chart, now can you see on all these 40 symbols on the 5-minute chart, it will quickly get loaded for me. It will tell me that on which symbols I'm closer to demand areas or supply areas out of these. This is 5 8 is 40 out of these 40 stocks, and I'll also show you example when it gets once it gets loaded, whether it is shortlisting correctly or not. So can you see I've selected 5 minutes. It's still going to take some time, so let's give it a few seconds because it still has to analyze 20,000 candles for us. But now you can see the results are getting generated. So if I look at my settings as of now, my settings are within 1%. So if I go to ABB on the 5 minutes chart, I should be within 1% to a demand area. Let's verify that. If I go to ABB on the 5 minutes chart, and I should be within 1% to a demand zone. So let's see where the demand zone might be. It might be somewhere in the past. So now the challenge here might be, okay, so there it is. So probably from here, if I look, you can see we might be within 1%. Okay, it will be taking from the low, right? I'm not taking from the closing as of now. So if I check from the low, can you see we are almost within 1%, and that is why it got shortlisted for us. So similarly, if I take another example, let's say we go to Aarti Industries, we should be closer to both demand and supply, within 1%, both demand and supply. Aarti Industries. So here I should be within 1% to both a demand zone as well as a supply zone, because currently my settings are I'm okay with tested areas. So that is why it would be taking this tested, and it should be within 1%. You can see we are within 1%, and that is why both of them are getting shortlisted for us. So you can see that it's not that the screener will not work on a smaller time frame. It will work on a smaller time frame. But the challenge here is because the data can be a lot of data, which is where when we start going to smaller time frames, we'll have to keep our list smaller, but we can spread it across n number of multiple charts and a number of multiple chart layouts. So that would be the only challenge which you might face when you're using the screener on a smaller time frame. But when you're using it on a bigger time frame, it's perfectly fine, even if you give a list of up to 40 symbols. But once you start going to smaller time frames, you will have to split it just to overcome the challenges which we have from TradingView, where it stops the script execution if it takes more than 20 seconds or if it takes more than 40 seconds. Similarly, I'll just show you if I go to the hourly. Now it will do it based on the hourly. So let's give it a few seconds again. I'll show you a few examples from hourly as well. And after that, I'll take some random queries from the chat box, and then we'll be ending the session. And probably I'll also do the Hindi session today itself. We are almost at 10, so yes, not very late. So yes, I can do a Hindi session as well, so that people who are comfortable in Hindi, they also understand what this screener is all about and what is the new feature. So you can see now it is shortlisted based on 60 minutes. And let's take one example. Let's say Apollo Tire. It is telling me on Apollo Tire I'll be closer to a demand area on the 60 minutes time frame. So if I go to 60 minutes, APOLLOT. So if I go to Apollo Tire, I should be close within 1% of a demand area. You can see I am inside of a demand area. That is what is happening as of now. And you can always keep the settings, whether you want to see tested zones, whether you just want to see fresh zones. All these things can be customized. All right, so I hope you people find this tool useful. Okay, at times you can see, it might give you study error, maybe timed out. If something like this happens, what you do is just go to a bigger time frame, let's say monthly. Then again, go back to that smaller time frame. Let's go back to hourly. And now you will see it will again start getting refreshed. The rest of the list will come back really, really quickly. The only one which was not generated, now it will try to generate this, and it will give you the results. So let's give it a few seconds again and see, do we get any result here, or we don't have anything within these 5 symbols. So let's just give it a few more seconds. All right, so by the time it is, so you can see it did not generate any result because maybe nothing is matching. So now let me go through the messages we have in the chat box, and then we'll be ending the session. All right, so very good evening to all of you. All right, so yes, I'm doing fine. Okay, let's see what do we have. Can I get alert on touching the area? See if you want the alerts on touching the area. So just as an example, can you see that I have shortlisted this because I know this is the supply where I would like to get an alert. You can simply place a price alert. So whenever the price starts getting closer to it, you'll get notified, but it will not happen based on the screener. And the reason for that is because if it is based on screener, n number of candles might remain closer to this demand zone or closer to the supply zone, which will generate the same alert over and over again. So that is the reason we have not given this as an option in the screener, because that will generate a lot of multiple alerts. The best way is just place your price alert closer to the zone, so that when it starts getting closer to the zone, you get notified for it. All right. Was the screener updated? Yes, the screener has been updated, and that is what the session is all about. Just in case you joined a little late, you can just watch the recording again, where you can see the difference between the two versions, which is the older one and the new one. Right. So it works on Dhan TradingView. No, it will only work on the official TradingView website, which is tradingview.com. If your broker is providing you TradingView platform via their website, you will not be able to access the screener or the indicators. They'll only be available via TradingView website, right? So that's a very good question. All right, so does your alert service include American markets? See, again, alerts is a different product, and I will do the walkthrough video on alerts again very soon, but the older video is available. You can just go through that video. The default alerts that we are providing, and that we have not included the American markets, but yes, with alerts you do get access to the demand and supply zone indicator with the alert feature, where you can set your custom alerts. Now when you're placing your custom alerts, that can be on any market, any symbol, doesn't make any difference, right? So that is how it is going to be. All right, so that brings us to the end of today's session, and next I will be seeing you probably tomorrow, because I think Sunday I'll not be available. So the Sunday weekly analysis session that we do, I might do it tomorrow. So until we meet next, in fact, I might also be doing this session in another few minutes, the same screener explaining it in Hindi. So until we meet next, enjoy your Friday evening. Take care. Bye bye.